Namaste. Welcome once again to our third podcast for this Sunday. It has been a hectic and a whirlwind day. So we have with us academic man. A lot of people know you. A lot of people will know you now. So, so today we're going to talk about Shashi Tharoor and narrative warfare or narrative in general. So it's a very niche
Yeah.
topic that we had actually discussed it. Okay.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is to get the perspective and overview in a proper way. Let me just share one document, and so that then you can explain to the audience, okay, how the appointment of Shashi Tharoor as one of the
Mm.
uh, primary players in the narrative warfare which India is going through with regards specific to
Ab-
Operation Sindoor. So if you can
Yes.
see, is the document visible to everybody?
Yes, I can see it. I think yes, it is. It is visible. Yes.
Okay. So over to you so that you can take the cues from the document and you can add your own as we go along.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um. Firstly, thank you for this. Again, this chance to talk about stuff I like. And things that are very. I think we all hold a lot of importance regarding. So my one point is, I think this is why Narendra Modi has been able to be the prime minister for the third time, because he knows that it doesn't matter what your ideology or what your what who you are, okay, what you do in your personal life, it does not matter. Sometimes what really matters is the tone of the voice, who is saying it, who is saying what, that is more important. So I think this was definitely one of the masterstroke things that Shashi Tharoor, appointing Shashi Tharoor happened, you know, and I think that this is the way in which we have to move forward, going forward. That we have to present a united front at this, at this bad time. We have to present a united front as a nation, as a country of people who are who are usually not aggressors, who are nice people. We have to now convince the world that this is not a problem, that India can definitely handle not only external enemies but internal enemies, and that we have to we can present ourselves as a united front, and we are a democracy and we should remain one for the near future. And I think the most important aspect behind the appointment of Shashi Tharoor is that what you have put on the screen, academic credibility. This is a very important factor. Whether we like it or not, Shashi Tharoor has a wonderful career in academia. He had a career, and then he was a diplomat. So, firstly, Shashi Tharoor went to a college which is very famous, St. Stephen's College, and he also went to Tufts and different kind of universities where, and schools and colleges where he was trained for diplomacy and all kinds of academic pursuits, and how he could present himself as a highly erudite and educated leader. uh, I think that comes with the territory of him being the son of a diplomat, if I'm not mistaken. And he was also he also grew up in Calcutta briefly. I think he went to St. Xavier's School as well. So St. Stephen's, Fletcher, Tufts University, and he has his PhD from Delhi University, I think. Uh, so my point being that he was no, I think Fletcher. He got his PhD from Fletcher. So the point being here that he's not a typical leader that we think of. He's not a typical MP or MLA that we usually see who is campaigning. That is why he is known not, and it's not just the English he speaks. English, though, a lot of people do speak. Huh. But what happens is, this is what we've been saying, even on CSK, even here, that he is actually belonging to a caste. And when I say caste, I mean academia is a caste. Academia is a status group which is very powerful, which is very elitist and powerful. And there he stands out, like even in academia, he is so well respected at academia, diplomacy, elite circles of Delhi, international circles, because he is able to kind of belong to these circles. He is able to navigate the different issues that are coming up during this time. And like I said, that he does not have to shout loudly. Okay. He does not have to say that you have to listen to me and shout. He does not say that, and precisely that's why his voice matters more than most people. And that is why I think Modi ji chose him, and I think it's a very wise choice, and definitely a very prudent choice going forward. Shashi Tharoor's English, see, this is why again English is also important. Whether we like it or not, the control of the world is still in the hands of the English-speaking countries. Okay, except if you take China as the exception, even then the rest of the world is controlled. The most of the GDP, most of the political powerful leaders, most of the people, they come from these countries that are English speaking. Even in Southeast Asia, if you see, the power hub is Singapore. Okay, Singapore is an English speaking nation. If you look at Malaysia and all, even this side, like India has the best. I think India is also able to dominate. People like Jaishankar, Shashi Tharoor are coming out because India also produces a lot of English speakers who are also nationalists. Okay, that is very important. Now, am I saying ki if you learn English, you shouldn't learn Sanskrit or your traditional language and all that stuff? No, I'm not saying that. Definitely, you should learn Sanskrit and all the important stuff that you think is important for your culture. But not. But what is more important is that for you to play at a international level, this is in a post-colonial world where most elites speak in English, where most Hollywood movies are English. Okay, where the academia is mostly English. Okay, then you need somebody who can speak that language at the native level. Okay. More importantly, this is exactly Oxford PhD plus Fletcher School and all that. So Shashi Tharoor brings with him a credibility, and he knows this international circuit really well. His son is in the Washington Post. I was just watching a video where his son was asking him a question. Okay, so imagine that even his son and all that, these people are working for companies like Washington Post and all, very big newspapers that all the elite class in America and all read. So we can just imagine the kind of power that this man has, which is why, whatever the case, a lot of people talk about the wife and all that stuff, it's not important. Right now he is working for India's interests, and he is the most credible voice in that whole group of people who have been sent abroad. Now, why is this important? That is what I want to say. And so Shashi Tharoor is not just not just an academic. Academic to bahut log hai. Matlab, there are hundreds and thousands of academics in the country and outside. But he is also, like I said, he belongs to that Lutyens caste. Lutyens is a caste. Okay. Now, my understanding of Shashi Tharoor actually came from my school life when I used to read his books. I used to read Shashi Tharoor's books when I was back in school, and there are some books by him like The $5 Smile, There was another book by him called uh, the the one on Mahabharat. That he had a book based on the Mahabharat. Okay, the Great Indian Novel. The Great Indian
Yes.
Novel. He also had a book called Riot. Riot was very leftist, left leaning. But if you read Shashi Tharoor's writing, he's a great author, by the way. And once I did meet him once, and I asked him about his books. Now that was a very brief meeting. He said, "Oh, you're reading the books, nice, nice. People are still reading these." So anyway, so so my point is this, that he is the kind of man who has been an author, diplomat, academician, uh, and he's like the Rabindranath Tagore of kind of Kerala, if I can say that, right, or Indian politics right now. I mean, Tagore was quite political. If you think about the steps he took, even against the British Empire, Tagore was not an apolitical guy sitting in his house and writing books and stories. So Tagore was quite political. तो तब तो आई मीन उतना पार्लियामेंटरी पॉलिटिक्स वगैरह राज्यसभा लोकसभा नहीं था. सो टेगोर वाज आई थिंक ही वुड हैव इवन बीन अ राज्यसभा मेंबर इफ रविन्द्रनाथ Tagore were alive right now. So he has, like, Shashi Tharoor is kind of like that, right? And more importantly, it's that aspect of him that makes him so attractive to people. Like, he is, like I said, he's not just an academic. Academic तो बाजार में बहुत है. मतलब I'm pretty sure abhi in India there are thousands of people with PhDs and all that from good places also. But what he brings to the table is he is a multi-talented chap. He is a great guy. Okay, and most and respected by not only BJP people, which is very rare. Like a Congress leader who is respected by BJP, people. He is also definitely respected by Congress workers, Congress, CPIM, all these people. Everyone has to respect him. There's no choice not to respect him. Essentially, very few people disrespect him. So he's a brilliant guy. So that's where the opposition thing works. Uh, Now, one important aspect is that I think Tharoor is, he's exceptional because his ability to kind of bridge beyond all that, BJP, Congress, whatever. But when if you remember, he wrote a book called Why I Am Hindu. Okay,
Yes.
that
Yes.
was his one of his non-fiction books that came out a few years ago. So it's not, I mean, he's very clever. Like, if you think about it, Congress is one of the most anti-Hindu parties in the country. But he wrote a book which actually, is that I am a Hindu, I am proud of my, Hindu identity. This he wrote in his language, English language, and this became a bestseller. Now, whether he is actually a great Hindu, he eats beef or not, whatever he does, that is not my concern. But before 2014 and all, it being Hindu was itself a problem. Like, if you told someone that you are a Hindu, you're a practicing Hindu, then it's a big problem for people. Earlier, people used to look at you in a weird way if you said you're a Hindu. But when Shashi Tharoor said I am a Hindu, then it becomes a cool thing, and that's what we've also been saying. Now, the opposition dilemma, one thing is very interesting about Shashi Tharoor is, if you look at two books of his, okay, one is the Great Indian Novel, like I mentioned, where Duryodhan's role was actually based on Indira Gandhi. Okay, Shashi Tharoor was not a big supporter of Indira Gandhi's, policies. Okay, so that makes it even more interesting that he is a part of the Congress. Okay, he actually made Indira Gandhi into Duryodhan. Matlab, the role that Duryodhan had in Mahabharat, he actually showed Indira Gandhi to have that role in his novel related to Mahabharat and Indian politics. I would urge everyone to read it. It's a brilliant book. So, this one, Duryodhan, Dhritarashtra is Nehru. Okay. Uh, Netaji Subhash is there. Gandhi is there. Everyone, a lot of like all the characters are there. Gandhi is Bhishma. Okay, although I don't think Gandhi was Bhishma, but still, I mean, he connects a lot of the characters of Indian politics. Yes, this one. He connects a lot of characters of Indian politics with this thing, with your with Indian politics in Mahabharat. Okay, and it's a brilliant book. He actually wrote it in a brilliant style. But that's what I'm saying. The biggest surprise of the book is that he actually kept Indira Gandhi as the villain in the book, which is surprising. Now, also what happened is he wrote a play called 22 Months in the Life of a Dog. Okay. You will not find that play in on Google. I think you won't. If you can search, if you can find it, it's good. But I
22
have an
months in
old
a 22 months in
22
a
months in the life of a dog.
okay,
22
let me check.
months was 22 months matlab it was the time of the emergency. Okay. Emergency ke time, what happened is in 22 months, Shashi Tharoor actually wrote a play. This was his early work, by the way. So, in that 22 months, he shows that a dog's brain has been put in a Congress worker's brain, and Congress worker's brain को dog के brain में दे दिया है. So it's a sarcastic, it's a kind of funny, this thing. It's a funny play. Okay, but you won't find it anymore. This is the funny thing. Even if you find the $5 smile ka copy, you won't be able to find it. Since I had an old copy in my house, I could get it. So I don't know why it has been removed. I don't know. But anyway, so Shashi Tharoor ji had written there that basically emergency ke time Congress was behaving like dogs. He actually wrote that. A kind of like in a metaphorical manner he wrote that. Okay. So that is pure genius. It is a part of the collection called $5 Smile. If you look for $5 Smile, you will get it. That is one of his
Yeah, yeah,
books.
that is there. That is there.
In that way, if you think about it, so what is he? That means that he is not just some average, Rahul Gandhi ko salam ठोकने वाला congressman, right? हाँ, this one. So यहाँ पे एक वो this book had one small natak or play. Okay, that this book, if you read it, then you will know. If you get the original copy, old copy, if you can find it somewhere in a library or something, anyone can find it. Then you will find that original play of 22 Months in the Life of a Dog. In that sense, देखो, he has never been a yes man for Congress. Okay, which is why recently I read an article where it says that to be a good congressman, even now you must need Modi's kind of approval to be a good congressman. So in that sense, I think this is the power of Modi ji and the Indian Hindu indiquing right now, that we are able to kind of determine that who is a good congressee. That is good. That is a good development. I welcome that wholeheartedly. But nonetheless, even though that is the case, it is pointing to one glaring problem, that with the exception of Baijan Jayapanda, who again is not a product of the Sangh or BJP per se, there are very few people in the BJP right now who has the kind of appeal that Shashi Tharoor has. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Now, whether by being in the opposition, you kind of directly become more attractive to young people and or the foreign press and all, that is a different matter. But I believe that even if Shashi Tharoor, let's say tomorrow he joins BJP, I think Modi will also tell him not to join BJP. His credibility is better when he's in the Congress actually. But let's say tomorrow he does join BJP. I think even if his credibility may be harmed a bit, but my so-called in the Western media and all, even then he will not be one of those people who are just like washing machine people. Matlab BJP में आके सब पाप धुल गया types people. It's not so easy because like I said, he's a member of that elite caste ना. वहां पे BJP has Swapan Dasgupta and a few others, but then Tharoor is more actually, Swapan Dasgupta was a great journalist. Nobody can take that away from him, but even then Swapan Dasgupta is seen as biased by many people. Yes, I think Abhay is making some very good points here. Although
Yes.
he has been backed by JSD and Harsh Madhusudan and all that, I have seen those debates personally myself. It doesn't matter. That is the point. Debate is something like, it's not a MMA fight. Okay, it's not like you beat the opponent and his ranking goes down. Aisa nahi hota hai. So he will actually, in a way, if he stays silent, I've seen that he goes silent. He doesn't shout. Okay, he doesn't say, "Hi, I'm right," and this and that, like Mahua Moitra and all these people. He actually says, "Ha ha, theek hai, ye bhi point hai, to theek hai, chup ho jate hai." What happens is, because of that, he actually has more credibility sometimes that others who shout and scream do not. He's a gentleman. तो बोलेगा कि ठीक है मैं हार गया तो हार गया. It's not a big deal. And I think that is something to learn. That is something for us to learn. If you shout, you kind of don't enjoy the respect that you think you do. More importantly, and I do agree with Abhay here as well, Arun Jaitley ke baad, there are very few people left in the BJP who can kind of use the Lutyens elite for their points. I remember this speech by Arun Jaitley once where he compared Indira Gandhi to Hitler. Okay. So he actually was describing how the Germans took over, the Nazis took over Germany, and he was giving small details regarding that, and then he said, in the end, somebody said, an author said, Germany is Hitler and Hitler is Germany. Okay. And then he said, I don't know if any other party has followed this in India. Okay. And so Arun Jaitley basically, by saying Germany is Hitler and Hitler is Germany, he actually kind of hit it on the head that somebody said Indira is India and India is Indira. Okay. So he kind of alluded to that. So Arun Jaitley, yes, definitely Arun Jaitley was a genius, and I think we miss him a lot. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think more and more people need to be produced by the BJP and the Sangh who can, challenge people like Tharoor. Not just challenge, I'm saying that who can supplement people like Tharoor, who can become the next Shashi Tharoor. Because we can't expect the Congress and CPIM to keep donating people who are good. ऐसे भी मतलब आधे तो कांग्रेस सीपीआईएम में कितने nationalists है मुझे पता भी नहीं है. I mean, it's not a real thing anyway. But that's the whole point. We need people who can be elite enough and then stand on the stage and say, yes, I am proud to be Hindu, like Shashi Tharoor said. Now, whether he agrees with BJP, RSS or not, and whether he has differences, वो matter नहीं करता है. Maybe it could even lead to this is what I'm saying, like, this is how the CPIM also had credibility in Bengal and other places. So CPIM, what they did was they have their academics who are trained by them. Okay. And then they used to make them go to these, they used to make them join the universities and get a good position, get foreign degrees and stuff and all that. And then what they did is they did not tell them to go and visit the party office. Okay. They made them members of this kind of some activist group or some kind of social, social club or something like that, where they would present themselves as a neutral group who would then support leftist ideas. Okay. So they don't need a party man to say, ha, leftist ideas are good. If a Communist Party cadre goes and says ki CPIM ka ideas are good, that doesn't make a difference. But when a professor or somebody who looks neutral, who talks like a neutral person, so called, and who does not visit the party office and all, If those people come and say that this is a good thing, that I'm a Hindu and I'm proud, we must protect our borders, we must defend our national security. If somebody like that says it, then it makes a big difference. And that's what my intention is. My intention is not to just say that Shashi Tharoor is a great man. Shashi Tharoor is a great man. There is no doubt about it. But I am saying that the Indic wing needs its own group of Shashi Tharoors who are not going to be necessarily affiliated with the BJP. That is the other point. This is the point I think the BJP misses very badly, because I have seen that in its campaigns and all, जहाँ पे जो लोग होते हैं, they have recruited a lot of teachers and professors and all, but these people are marked as BJP cadres. The only other way to do it, or they are, they go and openly, mingle with people like Modi ji and all. So what happens is this destroys the credibility of the person, you know. In that, so that's a big problem, I believe, that if you have to preserve the credibility of an academic or a intellectual person or a diplomat and all, then you shouldn't make them visit a party office. How many times have you seen Jaishankar actually visit a BJP party office? He's an MP from BJP. He's a minister in the government. But have you ever seen him actually, kind of meet BJP karyakartas and, kind of mobilize the party and all? I don't think Jaishankar ever does that. Jaishankar
No.
just does. Exactly.
No,
I
I
don't
don't
think.
think. Yeah, no. He not seen in public. It may have been happened privately. See, I got your point. So now let me be the devil's advocate. Okay, people
Okay.
can
Yes.
curse me on the chat, and people want to join the conversation.
No. I mean, I don't know if you don't have a problem.
No,
I don't know, but
no. See, we need to cover a few things. Okay, because
okay. Yeah.
or the
Definitely.
conversation will go into different direction. Okay,
Ha,
because
ha.
we Indians like to digress a lot. Okay, let me show you something. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
if people get the membership, then I can arrange a question answer session with academic man in future session that we can do. But
Yeah. I'm
that
open to
that
that.
would be for members only.
Yeah.
Let me show you something. Actually, it's an interesting part that you had mentioned. I wanted to talk about it, but it may not be relevant to this, but it is connected to what you're talking about. So there is a new book has come out by Mr. Sachin Nanda, who has wrote a book on the Dr. G,
Yeah.
RSS founder. Okay,
No. Of course.
Balidam Hedgewar. He's called Dr.
Yeah.
G affectionately. So in this book, I have seen his interviews. I don't know how many people have watched his interviews. I think this book is a work of a genius. Okay, the one I have read his interviews. I got the book as well. It would be there somewhere. I need to read this. So when you are talking about as a narrative elite, okay, international structure, okay, where how the international system operates, how the politics and diplomacy operates overall, okay,
Yeah.
it is English, okay. Whatever I have understood, you can help me on this. That
Definitely.
RSS, BJP, and their affiliates, okay, they are primarily a like ground specific organization where they work on ground, okay, and they are into what the author says. The author says, Mr. Sachin Nanda, in his book, his primary contention or his primary objective is to show what is the uh, objective of RSS as an organization. That is to build called social capital. He has
Yeah.
mentioned this in many interviews. Right? So when
Yeah.
you are building social capital, so RSS primary motive is to build the social capital. Okay. Now the thing is that social capital has many aspects to it. Okay, like having elites join the group, join RSS is part of social capital. But Primarily, RSS, Janasangh and its affiliates, okay, they are into working with the 80% of the people, okay, who are never going to be the elites.
True, true, true.
Yeah. Now because most people here as well may have never gone to a shakha, okay, or maybe may have
Mm,
never talked to a person who is from RSS, okay, in
mm,
general, okay. Now, when we are asking the BJP, Sangh, or other organizations to actually now change their DNA, their function
mm,
into to actually like retrofit their ideology, okay, maybe not
mm, mm,
ideology, but their working style into something which
mm.
they have no exposure to, and they don't even like it.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
so that's where my contention comes. That and second part of it is important is that evolution, okay, change, the way RSS and some functions, okay, the change is slow and gradual, okay.
Mm,
So
mm, mm,
now it has been 100 years of RSS, okay. So
mm,
what we want, so I think we cannot imagine in 1980s, 90s, and even 2000s, okay,
mm.
when Narendra Modi was indicted and accused, Amit Shah and Narendra Modi was accused in the riots of Gujarat, that
Mm.
Narendra Modi would actually select somebody from the Congress and say,
Yeah,
you represent Gujarat. It never
yes.
happened.
True,
Now,
true.
if a pracharak, a permanent pracharak of Sangh is choosing Shashi Tharoor to represent
Uh,
India in the international stage, that
yeah,
shows the
yeah.
evolution and working style of an organization.
Mm, mm.
Okay. So there are two things. One is political nationalism, and other is cultural nationalism.
True, 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 true. Mm.
Correct. So now,
Yes.
what RSS represents the cultural nationalism, okay, and BJP
Mm,
represents the political nationalism.
mm, mm, mm,
So these nuances, which are there when you read the literature, so
mm,
I am not saying that we should not criticize. Okay, I
mm,
am
mm,
saying
mm.
we should be criticizing it, but we need to keep in mind where we are, where we want to go, and where things are moving towards.
True, true, true.
Okay, so that is what my devil's advocate point, that yes, we should be telling the organizations that this is where we need to improve, but
Yeah.
myself or you or anybody doesn't have the right to say that they are not doing this, what is obviously very right thing to do, so they are a bad
Mm.
organization or they are an
No, no, of
ineffective
course not.
organization.
Mm, mm. Okay.
Yeah.
One
Hmm.
thing I must tell you is
Hmm, hmm, hmm,
my limited exposure to Sang's people
hmm.
is that they are very dedicated. There is no doubt about their dedication and love for the country and all that. That part is there. But I think what is the issue here is that the educational aspect, the education lobby, right? The students wing bolo ABVP, the teachers wings, the professor wing, all that. These wings are not with the BJP actually. These wings are controlled by the Sangh. Okay. Now I have actually seen these people up close, and the problem that they have is that in primary teachers, primary school वगैरह ये सब चलता है. Okay, this kind of unions and where you teach duties and rights and Indian culture, that is very good. But the same people, they flounder when they come into academia. Okay, मतलब higher education, foreign universities and these kind of places. Okay, Lutyens to chhodi do. So that is my problem, that if the educational wing of the Sangh, which is working on ground organization with tribal schools and stuff, very good. I mean, no doubt about it. I have no doubt that these people are working hard. They work much harder than me, definitely. बट द प्रॉब्लम विद दैट इज कि कुछ जगह ही ऐसा होता है जैसे इट्स लाइक अ इट्स लाइक अ यू नो पोलो ग्राउंड, इट्स लाइक अ एलिट, जैसे वो जेम्स बॉन्ड फिल्म्स में यू विल सी लाइक द द द द टेबल वेयर दे प्ले कार्ड्स, राइट? वहां पे हर कोई नहीं जा सकता, यू एंड आई विल नेवर बी एबल टू गो टू दोस प्लेसेस. सो यू नीड, लाइक जेम्स बॉन्ड को भी कभी कभी देश के लिए यू नीड ही नीड्स टू प्ले पोकर, ओके? सो दैट्स व्हाट आई एम सेइंग विद द एलिट्स. So that part is being neglected because of the songs, way they function. I am happy that they function in this way, but इसको थोड़ा add करना पड़ेगा. That is my point. That this cannot. When you are in power, then definitely you have to work on that aspect where you can acquire more elites. You can train a new kind of elite. Okay, देखो ये whatever we say and do in any country will have a set of people who are going to be like very uber elite, highly educated, very rich, like Shashi Tharoor, or others like Shopan Das Gupta and all these kind of people. Okay, but that is the problem कि मतलब you cannot deny that this section exists. हाँ, अभी तुमको क्या करना पड़ेगा? If मतलब when I say तुम मतलब when I say you I mean IndiQuing needs to get our people more into that section. वो section exclusive है. That is the whole point. कि that section will not embrace you. Nationalist होंगे, Indian IndiQuing, if you are then anyway they won't respect you and like you. But you have to enter from inside and then like show your colors or whatever. That is the whole game. Okay. Or you give them incentives कि जो है already उसको थोड़ा बहुत इंसेंटिव देके यू कैन ब्रिंग ओवर टू योर साइड. एंड आई एम नॉट सेइंग यू कैन इवन ट्रस्ट दीज पीपल, दे आर नॉट ट्रस्टवर्दी एट ऑल. They are very, they are very give and take type of people. They are very matlabi. But having said that, that's what I'm saying. When you are in power, you can actually redistribute resources according to your needs. And that is important because, for example, I'll give you an example. When the farm laws happened, right? फार्म लॉ प्रोटेस्ट वगैरह सब हो रहा था. If they had deployed a lot of these highly educated professors, teachers, economists, this and that, like the middle class would not have been so swayed. So the problem what happened is that the middle class kind of somewhere lost the सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट लॉस्ट दैट सपोर्ट. वो सिर्फ इसलिए नहीं क्योंकि दे डिडंट बीट अप द फार्मर्स एंड सो कॉल्ड फार्मर्स हु आर नॉट एक्चुअली फार्मर्स एनीवे. सो दोस पीपल उनको हराया नहीं, ये भी बात नहीं है. The narrative of why the farm laws was essential. Let's say 85% people of the country support the farm laws. Okay. And only maybe 10-15% people don't support the farm laws. Then the farm laws would have had the massive support of the people and he didn't need to do that. But ये जो education देना पड़ेगा इसके support में, the narrative building aspect, that only, मतलब सिर्फ English educated नहीं, I'm saying even हिंदी में जो लोग, somebody like Sudhanshu Trivedi, let's say, but how many Sudhanshu Trivedis are there, right? So that's my whole point, that if you have to influence people, you need somebody like even Arif Muhammad Khan, let's say. Somebody who's highly educated in their field, and then the people will listen to that guy, that okay, this man is a nice man, he's a he's a very highly educated man, and I think that he's making sense. Okay. So Jesse Abdul Kalam was there, even Vajpayee was kind of like a intellectual guy. Okay. So there were this credibility that was assigned. Now I'm not saying Narendra Modi does not have credibility. Narendra Modi is still the most popular leader in India. Nobody doubts that. But Narendra Modi is, after all, a political personality, right? That's the other point. That even somebody like Sudhanshu Trivedi, we all love and respect him. But the problem with Sudhanshu Trivedi is, after all, he is a BJP MP. So I'm talking about this kind of neutral appearing kind of nationalist pro-indic people जो बहुत rare है. Even Anand Ranganathan sometimes makes the cut. उसको कोई बोल नहीं पाएगा कि he does not criticize. But that's the whole reason that Anand Ranganathan has a following. Okay, because he is somebody who will talk about Hindus but won't join the BJP. So that is very important. That's what I'm trying to say. Like we need, even if not Shashi Tharoor, we need 100, 200 Anand Ranganathans or JSD or somebody like that. So that is very important. Abhi Sangh ka, I love the way the Sangh works in many remote areas and stuff, but cities mein dekho, the city elites never really like the Sangh for a reason. Because the Sangh is not actually appealing to them. वो अलग बात है. I'm not saying कि you need the city elites. The Sangh also does not need to be openly involved in this. But ऐसे तो देखो, underhanded deals and stuff always happen. You have to play these cards, right? I mean, Shashi Tharoor के जैसे, in the case of Shashi Tharoor, let's say I'm sure that there was some, something understanding, some kind of understanding. Who knows what it is? But कुछ तो उनको मिल रहा होगा ना. But that is the whole point. This class, the failure to understand this class is, this is the most selfish class in the world. Okay, academics and these kind of people, because इनका है ही कि I will be elite and I will not respect anybody else. वो ऊपर ऊपर जो भी बोले, ultimately वो है कि अंदर में nobody likes, academics don't like non-academics that much. And more importantly, जो बात है कि they are, academics is a very closed caste. That is the biggest problem. Exactly. Somebody like Dilip Mandal, right? And now personally, we are not fans of Dilip Mandal, but you need them to make some points. Sometimes you need them to make a point that somebody even so erudite and educated like Sudhanshu Trivedi, nobody will listen. Like, just because he has the tag of BJP. Like, imagine the power of Sudhanshu Trivedi if he were just a university professor in Delhi University, let's say. तो अलग ही लेवल का उनका वो होता ना. Like the whole reason that Sudhanshu Trivedi does not have fan clubs is because he's a member of BJP. So that's my point. Like that's the whole point. So that definitely is there. One thing I have to I have to talk about Abha. What Abha has raised is Arun Shori. So Arun Shori ji made a tremendous mistake. Okay, he wrote a book against Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. And now he wrote a book against, वो तो ठीक है, सावरकर वाला book नया है, I won't go into that. But he wrote a book against Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Now you may not like Dr. Ambedkar, you may not agree with his views. Okay. But ये तो है कि Dr. Ambedkar was is still a very powerful person. Now you want the Dalit votes and all that. Now Arun Shori को minister वगैरह कुछ बना दिए, तो first thing that will happen is a lot of Dalits will feel insulted क्योंकि उनका भगवान अम्बेडकर है. Now that is a big problem with somebody like Arun Shori. When you go full right wing, मैं ये भी बोल रहा हूँ, देखो, Shashi Tharoor is not known as an extremist of any kind. ये भी अजीब है. मतलब that makes him more credible in some ways. Arun Shori rubs either you agree with him or you disagree with him. Okay. Now, when you write a book like that on Ambedkar, a lot of people like me, many other people will disagree with you. Okay. So you do not have the appeal of most people or Dalit groups and all that. But Tharoor kabhi aisa nahi karega. That is the whole point. He won't write a book like this. The importance of an intellectual also lies in the fact that he must somehow be neutral enough to appeal to every side. Okay, now this is very difficult in a polarized world. That is like very, very difficult. But yehi to academia hai. Matlab, the academic works that a lot of people are doing that I know, and personally I have my own friends who are nationalist academics. We are trying to kind of use leftist narrative to India's to Hinduism's favor, India's favor. Okay, so that is the whole point. कि तुमको you have to use the dominant narrative. हाँ, that's what I've been trying to say. They have to appear neutral. But that is very important. ये जो neutrality का वो है ना, मतलब the appeal of neutrality, that is very powerful. You have no idea how powerful that is. So this, for example, somebody like Deep Haldar, okay, if you notice, sometimes he does criticize the BJP. Even if he writes books like Being Hindu in Bangladesh, he does not, just write every article in favor of BJP. He writes maybe, two articles in favor of this, whatever BJP or something, or maybe a issue that is close to the Indic wing's interest. और एकाद वो लिख भी देगा बीजेपी के खिलाफ, हाँ. But that is why his credibility is maintained. Nobody can say आप बीजेपी का चमचा हो, दल्ला हो, ऐसा नहीं बोलेगा. So दीप हलदर के खिलाफ ये नहीं बोला. हाँ, people might say that you are a biased, you are showing biasness against Bangladesh. ये बोल सकता है. But fact is, that is what makes somebody like Deep Haldar so powerful. That he is not kind of, he's not a Congressy or a BJP or a leftist or a this or that. मतलब उनके he won't have a picture of him and Narendra Modi together. But that's what makes him more powerful, right? That's what a lot of people don't understand. अभी देखो, ये academics का भी दोष है. Like, for example, I have seen a lot of people in academia and all, whenever a politician comes, they kind of go to the politician and act like he's a god. Okay. So, I told you, this is a very selfish class, right? So, दो चार पैसे नौकरी के लिए people have done horrible things, okay, academics. And that, but then these people can never go to that level. That is the main thing. उस लेवल पे नहीं जा सकते हैं जहां पे you will get the kind of respect that people want, like people like Shashi Tharoor have. That is the thing.
Yes. So let me make one point. Okay. Post 20. As you mentioned, correct, just a little while ago, that BJP did try to co-opt and get academics and other people into their fold, okay, knowingly or unknowingly, or maybe in a shadow manner. What I feel, from my perspective, is that this elite world, the English-speaking elite world, okay, in general, okay, they have been around for almost like 200 years, 100, 200 years. They have been there.
Yes.
So, and if you see the general right-wing movement, they will be more reactive than proactive. That is the nature of the right-wing movement in general. I am not saying Sangh or BJP is a right-wing in that way, but let's agree that they are on the spectrum of right-wing, not fully, but on the spectrum of right-wing. Okay.
Yes.
In that context, are we being little bit unfair, considering that they have a gigantic upper hand? Okay, because still the Europeans and the Americans control everything. The academia is controlled by Americans and the Europeans. And with the monetary power that they hold, monetary and other cultural power that they hold till now, okay.
Yes.
Even BJP have put their best people there. Okay. I don't imagine they will get through. Okay, because they will fail. Okay, in that way. I am not saying that BJP has done a good job. I am saying even if BJP has done a good job, okay, the kind of stranglehold they have, even imagine if Shashi Tharoor was BJP member, and he wrote the same books that he wrote by being a BJP member itself, okay, then Shashi Tharoor would be branded as a fascist because he wrote a book, Why I'm a Hindu. But because he is on the left spectrum, he is respected for writing a book.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so
Yes.
in some aspect, that's like that political nationalism which BJP represents, okay, and the cultural
Hmm.
nationalism which actually Sangh represents. Okay,
Yes.
we have to give little bit of leeway to both these organizations, little bit, not a lot, because
Hmm.
they need to learn a lot and do it faster than what they are doing now. But they are bound to fail, whatever they do. Okay, they are bound
Hmm.
to fail, and now how they will learn? They will learn by being at 240. That is my I
Ah,
understanding that how they have
I
learned.
agree.
See, when they hit 240,
Hmm.
they they created a channel, the pamphlet.
Hmm.
Correct.
Pamphlet and all that. Yes. Yes.
Correct. There is one more channel. There is one more portal called something is there. I forget the name of it. They are in
Hmm.
south. Okay. So now
Ah,
they are now actually, see it. We are all humans. Okay. Whether it's an
true.
organization, whether it's a human being. Okay. Until you fail, you will never learn.
Hmm.
Until you
No, no.
see you are in danger. Until see you are in
Yes.
danger, you will never learn. Okay.
True. True.
So
True. True.
and that process will have to go through. Okay. The thing
Hmm.
that we need to remember is that 2024 was a kind of a like a flashpoint where we see the change, where we see Dilip Mandal incorporated. Okay, where we see
Yes.
a lot of people who were now even BJP realized, or the Sangh
Hmm.
realized that okay, we need them into our fold. Okay, and
Yes.
now
Yes. और
now they
not
will.
directly also. मतलब दिलीप मंडल को मतलब ले लिया होगा, but
Hmm,
I would have preferred कि वो दिलीप मंडल ही रहे, but he slowly changes his language. You know, he changes his वो किया उसने, but I
hmm,
would
hmm,
have preferred कि कोई पोस्ट ना दे. मतलब उसके साथ जो
hmm.
डीलिंग है वो नीचे नीचे होगा ना कि आपको फॉरेन ट्रिप है, you need
No,
foreign
no.
trips,
See,
you
the thing
whatever.
is that it works in both ways. It's like a double-edged sword. Correct. If you
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to
yeah.
attract these kind of people, you need to do a public posturing that okay, if you come on my side,
Mm.
see what Mandal got.
Yes, 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 yes. Exactly,
So
exactly.
it's a double-edged sword. Okay.
Yes,
That
yes, yes.
so your own supporters will curse you. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
But the thing is, that they hold no power. They can only curse
Yes.
you on the social media. They don't hold any significant power which can
True, true, true,
alter
true.
things on ground. Okay,
Hmm,
so they
hmm,
don't
hmm.
really care about. Now
Hmm.
I am now let me come back to one more point which actually I noted down. So when we are talking about the narrative game, okay, narrative or the
Yes.
perception shaping um, instruments that is utilized. Right?
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Do you think that this perception shaping game can be done at the ground level the way Sangh does? Okay, and do you think that or the elites who are 10% of the population, but they have 90% power to actually shape narratives? So
Hmm.
this bottom up approach or a top to bottom approach, what do you think which has a long term impact? Okay, long term impact. And why I'm going to say this, is that in let me again go back to the article,
Hmm.
because it's a little interesting point which I got to know from his book itself.
Yeah.
Okay, are you able to see it? No, not yet. Yes, now you should be able to see it. So in his book, Sachin Nanda actually mentioned, okay,
Hmm.
that this ground up approach has created a kind of a like invisible sanghis. Okay, invisible
Hmm.
sanghis. Okay, and now they are actually shaping narrative, but at the
Hmm.
ground up level, which is not as effective as somebody like hiring Shashi Tharoor or Dilip Mandal, who can do a
Hmm.
instant Maggie rather than a biryani.
True, 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 true. I agree
Okay.
with you.
Now, what do you think in terms of this ground up approach? Okay,
Hmm.
what can be done by Sangh and the other affiliates to actually now, because now I think they have enough social capital at the bottom to actually have a impact on the society itself, okay, over a wide spectrum.
True, true, true,
Now,
true.
what do you think your suggestion would be that how they can navigate this consumption pattern driven high caste world?
Yes. So, firstly, I think I mean, your understanding of this thing is
Hmm.
very good. Like, I must say that the way you explained it is quite, detailed and stuff. So, I don't have to then explain that definitely a 2 minute Maggie hai, and the bottoms up approach is more stable. I agree with you. Uh, the problem with the only problem I see with the bottom to top approach is somewhere the quality of the narrative is compromised. Matlab, if for example, what let's say your channel or CSK does, which is why you have both of you have very low number of subscribers, is that what you try to do is it's actually complex. Okay. So not because you're just doing it in English. Let's say you did it in Hindi or even local language. Even then, it is actually a complex idea. Joe, which some educated guys like maybe Abhay and others who are regular viewers, Ninar, Finar, Jobio, a lot of people are watching our stuff, but they are not the mass. If we think that our viewers are the masses, then we are, mistaken. Then what about the masses? Should we see that, should we just ignore them? No. I think that the very ideas, for example, the idea that we kept promoting that caste is not unique to Hinduism. Okay, that one aspect. Then the second is that if you think about it, uh, that how elites work, ये थोड़ा complex है. That people often, for example, in West Bengal, till a few years ago, uh, it was very common for people to sympathize with terrorists and stuff. Okay, I have seen it myself. Because the Communist Party क्या करता था कि they used to take the intellectuals who are not directly affiliated with them, but kind of supporters, but ideologues basically. School college level पे उनको training देके their ideology was disseminated among the people. Okay. Now, what happens is because of Bangladesh and all this stuff, a lot of that has changed. Like social media is creating change. That is good. But even then, अभी भी West Bengal में कुछ लोग हैं ऐसी who are not going to accept that, the view that terrorism has religion and all that stuff. Yeah, why you need strong national security measures, why you need to strengthen borders. ये ये जो narrative है basic, if I boil down to a few things like caste is not uniquely Hindu. Terrorism and religion has a relationship. Number three is let's say national security is above all, सर्वोपरि. My own personal view is free market is also important. Exactly. So the thing is that these 4-5 points, okay, now these you can just tell people that these are 5 points and you need to support them. No, you need कि elite मतलब सिर्फ लुटियंस elite नहीं, you need कि ground level पे teacher, professor इनको जो भी हो, मतलब school teachers also, okay, these people need to be co-opted. Now the Sangh actually does a good thing in its schools, but I have seen that what happens is कि school level पे अच्छा करते हैं. School level पे almost every child, Hindu child is a nationalist. Okay, ये है. When they go to college or university, then many of these nationalist kids are suddenly becoming JNU wala, Jhola Chap wala people. Okay. Now that I have seen personally, like they will go to Ramakrishna Mission, they will do puja, archana, they will do, they will do Hindu rituals, they will respect Swami Vivekananda, they will do all that. Okay, they will love Indian culture. College में जाते ही नक्सल बन गए. This is very common. हाँ, So this, like I said, that uh, one is that if people are not going to go to college, then take America type ka. Half the people, like 90% people don't go to college in the US. So actually, then MAGA works, matlab Donald Trump works. Ki, theek hai, that you are in the real world. But most of even lower classes, the working classes, they are sending their kids to college and all that. वहां पे जाके एकदम बेकार का चीज हो रहा है. वहां पे जाके their professors are woke. Okay, their teachers are woke in college. So वो बात है कि you have to do on both levels. एक तो है कि ground level पे you need to, maybe through school textbook change, or some kind of training to teachers and all that stuff. You need to also put your ideological teachers in the schools. So school level से थोड़ा सा आपको receptive बनाना है. That way people are more nationalist. Okay, तो ऐसे you have to tilt the scales more right, or pro nation, pro India kind of scales. When they go to college, वहां पे अलग लेवल का आपको जुमला बनाना है. वहां पे मैगी मैगी चलेगा वहां पे. हाँ, because school is biryani, 12-13 years. Okay, but college is 1 or 2 years. And then you see why college is so problematic, because when you are 18, 19, 20 and you go to college, everyone wants to be cool. I have seen this personally because I'm in academia. I've seen this. Nobody wants to be, very few people are very different. Matlab, very few people don't want to smoke. They don't want to, kind of not have, a bad life. They don't want to, maybe you want to have a girlfriend, boyfriend, something like that. So people, when they go to college, their priorities are very different. Or cool बनने के चक्कर में, they many times they are receptive to bad ideas. Okay. And I have also seen that teachers make a big difference. मतलब professors and teachers who are, अभी ये देखो, this is where the main problem comes. Professors and teachers, if you think that, so like for example, Kaushik Babu teaches at an IIM, right? Kaushik Babu is a very nice man. He's a very great professor. I love listening to his podcasts and stuff. But my point is कि sometimes you need a cool guy. That's what I'm saying. मतलब you need somebody who is very, kind of attractive. The personality, the looks, the kind of whatever works. Like that kind of thing you need. ये left बहुत इसमें ध्यान देता है. The left actually catches hold of very attractive people and good looking people and all that stuff, and then they train them. And they do this. This is very common. If you go to any presidency, Jadavpur and all, they catch hold of the very, young girls who are good looking, and then they bring them to these, they train them, ideologically train them, and then they become professors and all. So whoever, is studying under that person gets attracted to that person and the ideology. Abhi ye hoga hi. This is common, like human nature. You cannot change that. Okay, you have a very good idea. Like I said, it's not about whether your idea is good. It's about who is giving that idea. And that is where, the people, exactly. So some people are coming up with Deep Haldar, Sanjeev Channel. That's what I'm saying. Like, with due respect to all others who come on the podcasts and all that, including, a lot of people I've spoken about. But the problem is that a Sanjeev Sanyal is very attractive as a personality. A Deep Haldar is a very attractive personality. ये अभी मैं ये बोलूंगा तो a lot of people say, how do we do that on a mass scale? What happens is that you have to create many Sanjeev. You have to catch hold of left ka some people, and maybe not just left. Maybe there are centrist people. There are some kind of, you can actually go to some top institutes. Huh. The places where people are, and we give them kind of like incentives, from when they are very young. We give them incentives, and we kind of teach them that why nationalism is a good thing. Indic wing mein ye baat ho raha hai. We have to catch hold of people like that. You can do the tribal activism and stuff. That is very good. That is why the country is still, 80%, 90% people are still, maybe not 90, but 70, 80% people are still nationalist, because the Sangh has done great work in the tribal areas and stuff. The tribals don't want to be cool like South Lavanya from South Delhi. But आपको Lavanya from South Delhi भी चाहिए, because Lavanya from South Delhi can tweet. A day wage laborer, a rickshawala does not tweet or does not set the fashion trend or whatever. So exactly, Milton Friedman ने अच्छा point बोला. Why not groom them? I don't want to use the word groom, but yes, Brett Cooper. Just if you look at the Americans right now, they are going for what are the Amla Ekpunobi, okay, who was a leftist by the way. उसको पूरा right wing बना के they are presenting Prager University, Brett Cooper, these kind of girls and all who are not very educated also, but they are they are young, good looking girls who are who represent a traditional way of life according to Americans. हाँ, फार्मिंग करते हैं, ये करते हैं, वो करते हैं, उनको देख के भी बहुत चेंज आता है लोगों को. Now that's the point. I am not. हाँ, that is. I think that a lot of our viewers are getting what I'm trying to say basically. The problem is that yes, I think HV madam is making some very good points. Dada, the common Hindu masses face another issue as well. They tend to redirect every night. Yes, that is a big problem also. That is why the left was more successful. The left never made it about CPM, TMC. Okay. The left made it about proletariat and bourgeoisie. Okay. The core ideology को उसने normalize कर दिया है. अभी if you ask anyone if capitalist is bad, everyone is capitalist is bad. Okay. Adani Ambani is bad. हाँ. They won't. So वहीं पे तो the left wins ना. The left wins because of that. It's not about the left electorally winning. But that is the whole problem. Okay. So anyway, yeah, I think.
Yes. So let me make one more point, and then we'll go for a few. There are one or two questions. We'll take them.
Yes.
So now, what you said is very important. What Didi said is also very important. Okay. But I am seeing. See, I am taking this from a systemic point of view. Okay.
Okay.
The left ideology or the elite ideology. Okay. So because they have the resources and the bent of ideology, okay, the intention of the ideology that is being propagated, okay, the communist ideology is defined, created, and systemized. Remember that Comintern, Communist International,
Yes.
it was part of the ideological process to have a magazine and propagate the magazine, send it across, fund it. Okay. So
Yes.
there is a method in which the left ideology is built and narrated and propagated. Okay. So it's a mechanism which is actually more effective than the spurious theories itself. So the mechanism what we do is we ignore the mechanism in which it is being, so as you mentioned, that left people would actually incentivize people without letting them joining the organization, and they would on ground propagate it. So it's a mechanism
Yes.
which is developed over time, over decades, okay, and with funding and other things coming from various sources, which actually created this mechanism. And what happens if you have a mechanism running for 30, 40, 3 or 4 decades, they become their own monsters. So that funding may go away because they have this own ecosystem. So they will regenerate the money from their ecosystem itself. Even the
Absolutely.
money dries out. Okay. So the so-called right wing or nationalist people have two problems to grapple with. One is that the entrenched system is too entrenched to actually throw them out. You cannot do that
mm,
because they have their own mechanism in place, and they will fight tooth and nail to actually make sure that they remain where they are with their incentives. Okay, and the other part is that their mechanism is something which is not designed to like fight or penetrate the other person's other ideologies mechanisms. So so
mm.
they are at the double, they have a double problem to deal with. They have to reorient their own mechanisms, own mindsets, okay, own
Yes.
ecosystems, to actually reorient them, and then they
Mm,
can take on the left. And again, leftists again have created their own mechanisms, and which, and third point, see, the right wing in the West, in America, and also somewhat in Europe, correct, they were in
mm.
actually power. See, what is right wing in America and
Yes.
West is the feudal landlords.
Yes.
The
Yes.
right
And
wing in America,
Christian
yeah, yeah,
interest.
yes, yes. So church, you can say also church itself. Okay.
Yes.
So the right wing in America and right wing in Europe is feudal landlords, and also a few elites and religious institutions who are supporting them. Okay, so they
Mm,
have some kind of mechanism on which actually they can bank upon to actually
yes.
fight the left ideology. Unfortunately, in
Mm-hmm.
India, nor we have that legacy social capital and financial
Yes.
capital which the right wing in the West has. So
Mm,
they are much more successful than we are, okay, in India. So there is a double-edged sword which is going on. To think at the systemic level, what's happening. So
yes.
in my perspective, I mean, how much you want to shout and anything else, okay, the only
Mm,
thing we need to do is try to create enough social capital in our sphere, okay, and try to
mm.
be little bit more constructive and understanding
Yes.
that where things stand from a systemic point of view.
Absolutely.
What I want, you want, I know academic man
Mm,
knows that if BJP these two things, they will be very good
mm.
position. But the problem
Yeah.
is, I am expecting to do that, but to implement those 2 points, there are a million things which are going to prevent it from happening because of the
Absolutely.
systemic
Absolutely.
and also the entrenched powers. So it is not
Mm.
as easy as it seems. So,
Agreed. Agreed.
yeah. So over
Largely.
to you for your last words. Over to you for your finishing comments, and then we'll take a few questions.
Yeah. No, I agree with you that the left has had a head start, and we can't compare ourselves to American right wing easily because American right wing के पास बहुत institutional support भी है, which we do not have at all. Okay, agreed. But that is why this push needs to happen very fast. And abhi dekho, the only good thing is that we have social media. So even if you and I are able to influence 10, 20 people, okay, those 10, 20 people might go to 50 people more. जो भी हो मतलब it is still a there like. So now if you look at Sham Sharma, Kushal Mehra, Abhi and New, other big content, Ajit Bharti, great creators, content creators and all, then they are also influencing crores, if not lakhs, then definitely crores. Okay, maybe 1-2 crore people. The problem is that right now there is no excuse for us not to be able to capture the eyes of people, attention of people. Matlab, what I'm trying to say is, yes, we were not in power, we were not even close to power for till 2014, maybe even 2020, I would say. Okay, but right now there is definitely her state mein BJP is the dominant opposition party. Every state the BJP is at least opposition party, if not ruling party. Okay, there is definitely a vocal indiquing presence on Twitter, social media, and all that. Okay, but as you can see that your viewers and CSK viewers are much better equipped to deal with their leftist people. Why is that? Because you guys are treading a difficult path. You guys are creating more educated indie queen people. That is exactly what we need. Yes, that is, matlab, but if you need to do it faster, if you need to kind of speed up the process and stuff, then again my points come ki, now that the Sangh is now a legit, power, whether the Sangh actually likes holding power or not, I'm going to go not going to go into that. But the truth is, the people take that, most people, international media also takes the Sangh seriously. Okay, Sangh is definitely a player in the whole, global ecosystems of power. The BJP is the largest party in the world. वो सब ठीक है. But to defeat the left at its own game, we need to play that game. Okay, just like in Lagan, when they had to defeat the Britishers in cricket, they didn't say that we have to play gilli danda and you play gilli danda. We had to play cricket, and then the Indians won, so the Britishers left. But that cricket to सीखना पड़ेगा ना, and cricket is a very late game. That is the whole point. But let's say, I think that 240, like you mentioned, 240 is going to change things. Number one. Number two is that I get hope when people like you are opening channels and CSK is trying to do something. So that will educate people, but it will still not be as fast as when the government does it. And that is my other point, that the government needs to kind of co-opt elites, give more, capture young minds. जो left करता है, left, एक problem है कि when by the time, let's say, Shashi Tharoor is on your side, you are already, like, he is already 60 years old and whatnot. Okay, his ideology won't change. But there are, in this country, there are a lot of talented people. There are hundreds and lakhs of Shashi Tharoor who can come up. Okay, who can be also indie queen openly. But for that, you need a very dedicated, like very elite institutes and dedicated people in that institute to do that. Yeah, I don't see the BJP doing this. Okay, frankly, I haven't seen the BJP doing this. Just say, for example, JNU, DU, mein, a lot of people were recruited, I know, but the kind of recruitments that happen, I did not like get a lot of good feedback from that. Matlab, a lot of people got in because they said Jai Sri Ram and walked in, and or they kind of they are close to BJP leaders, so they got the jobs, that kind of thing. Now this is I'm not saying it's a scam. I'm just saying that this is, even Congress used to do it, but Congress and left में क्या था? Like I'm saying, कि Congress and left had a pool of dedicated elites already. वहां से उनको नौकरी देता. But if the BJP does the same thing as Congress and CPIM, the BJP does not have a dedicated pool of elites from college or university level. So focus on maybe 2 institutes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5 institutes all over the country. There are already institutes by the left where you can put your talented people in and create the next generation of academics and whatnot. It will take maybe 5-10 years. It will take 5 years at least. Okay. But it will create the next group batch of, next Jesai Deepak, next Anand Ranganathan and all. ये मैंने नहीं देखा है. Like, as an academic who is well involved in a lot of projects and stuff, I have not seen this happen. Okay. So that is a very disheartening thing. कि अभी मतलब right now maybe they are trying some things, but till for 10 years I did not see them try anything like that. So that is a bit of a problem in my opinion. Anyway,
Yeah,
chalo, let's take some
yeah.
questions.
No, 2 minutes I need. See, isn't that natural that they will be failing? Correct. They have see
Ah,
the Sangh and BJP are not like, the people are not from the elites. So
ha ha ha.
when they're going to navigate these things, they are bound to fail. Like whatever
Yes.
people they have chosen when they came into power 22,
Ha ha
24, 14,
ha.
they are bound to get scammed by the people because they know the system and they have
Absolutely.
just come here. So they would be
Absolutely.
failing. So I am not surprised with that. They have done a very good job. I think they have done a better job than why I wanted. I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
that they
yeah.
will do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
हाँ देखते हैं, and I hope that because I mean there are ways in which we are also trying to pressure whatever, even if 2 people listen to our thing. Okay, so who are one is a very important person who listens. Even then, that is my message that अभी इसको proactively करना पड़ेगा, मतलब use all your resources, because इसके बाद क्या होगा ना, the problem that happens is the left is actually upping its Twitter and YouTube and all that game. जो भी हो, मतलब there is a Dhruv Rathi, you cannot ignore that Dhruv Rathi has a Dhruv Rathi तो established academic भी नहीं है. I was listening to an Ajit Bharti show, a podcast about him, and Ajit Bharti is saying that, bhai, you cannot deny Dhruv Rathi, right? You can insult him, abuse him, you can say whatever, but ये तो ठीक है ना, ले उसने, he is not himself very educated, but he can make people feel uneducated. He can point out and say WhatsApp University, हाँ, उसका dedicated following हो गया, because people are dumb enough in this country to actually think that he's a good guy. So we have to create our own, like 22. एक है मोहक मंगल, who is a complete fraud. Okay, in my opinion, allegedly, I won't say fraud है, but anyway, मतलब he is a leftist. उसका completely biased videos है, मतलब if he debated me, then I would have totally shown him the reality in many cases. But ये है, फिर एक there is a girl these days I see with short hair, okay, she is going and exposing all the Indian problems, okay, and then she says humanities पढ़ो, अरे humanities पढ़ के नौकरी नहीं मिलेगा. I mean, these people are all typical leftist people, okay. So the solution is not that you can't put them in jail, right? They are just doing their normal work. But ये जो this elite, this kind of elite that the left keeps creating, the way they do poverty porn, okay, हमको भी कुछ सीखना पड़ेगा उनसे, and we have to create our own this army of people. Sham Sharma is a good guy, so he's doing it on his own. He's making it big. Kushal is trying to do, but और बनाना पड़ेगा, और we need 100 more Kushals, we need 100 more CSK, we need 100 more Navavimars. We want to do, और 100 भी ना हो, मतलब they need institutional support. अभी you are telling me one thing, if the government, if the ruling party wants, they can invest money in channels, and ये लगेगा, देखो, whether we like it or not. The fact that you said pamphlet and all came up, pamphlet also कहीं से तो पैसा मिला होगा. Pamphlet suddenly appeared out of nowhere and it got 3 lakh subscribers. So when a channel is growing suddenly, that means there is some kind of institutional or some kind of support there. So they need to invest in better content, better people. That institutional support also needs to come. But ठीक, I'm not just going to complain. This is more of a, I hope that somebody in power listens and maybe kind of can give better ideas to people in power, because whatever. So chalo, let's take some questions for a few minutes.
So question to academic man: do you think allowing dual citizenship will help us to get some elites who can speak the Western media's language? Interesting question.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that will help. My view is a bit different. My view is, जैसे Saudi funded poverty action labs, okay, in the US. मतलब क्या है? मतलब सऊदी ने बहुत पैसा डाला है US universities में. China also invests a lot of its money in US universities. ये आपको भी करना पड़ेगा. A lot of Indian industrialists actually do fund a lot of American university posts, but they typically fund leftists. ये एक प्रॉब्लम है. देखो, यूनिवर्सिटीज आर अ बिजनेस, ओके. पैसा मिलेगा तो दे विल डू. देखो, Jewish lobby is controlling the US universities, and because they do it, they are able to kind of, when the October 7th thing happened, then they said ki whoever supports Palestine, now we will check, we will not give them jobs in Jewish firms and so. So suddenly they were pulling funding and stuff. So then it worked. The whole the universities went into panic mode. Okay, a lot of things changed. Of course, we are not going to be as powerful as the Israelis or the Middle East people and the Chinese and all that. We are not going to be that powerful, but you can invest. Like if you let's say if Mahindra Group or Ambani or Adani are funding, जैसे जो राजीव मल्होत्रा जी बोलते हैं ना कि they are funding but they are funding leftists. तो आप प्रो इंडिक वाले जो अच्छे लोग हैं, you fund some of them, right? If you are going to spend money on these universities, then the government can come to terms with them. I'm not saying that suddenly Narendra Modi will call up somebody Anand Mahindra and say हाँ कल से सब right wing लोगों fund करो, ऐसा नहीं है. But I think the government can kind of talk to these people, that not the government, also the party can talk to these people. I don't know how this will work, but you need people in American universities to speak your language. Or academics are basically paisa wala. They are like मतलब they will work for anyone. हाँ ये है, they will justify anything, but तुमको पैसा डालना पड़ेगा, वो है. But it's not
Yeah.
even that, like 100 like lakhs of crores. This is maybe 200-300 crore 500 crore ka project. That's what I'm saying. Like if you invest 500-600 crores, there are many white good academics who can kind of do work for Indian interests. ऐसे हुआ है, people like Ronald Indian all have actually done good work for India, Nicholas Dirks and all. Okay, so it's not like it hasn't happened. You just need to keep doing it more. You need to invest more resources in them. उनको fellowships दो, उनको give them foreign tours, these that whatever they want, and you can get them to write. तुमको deal होगा कि write some good stuff about India's democracy, write some good stuff कि India में caste system is not unique or whatever. India's caste system has changed now thanks to the growing new India, that India's caste system is going down. ऐसा कुछ, yeah, India is the only beacon of hope in South Asia. In that kind of stuff. Yeah, even bloody Bangladesh and Pakistan, I think, fund people in foreign. हम लोग ही उतना fund नहीं करते. That is a sad thing, right? That is not even a huge project. Like I said, 500-600 crores, 1000 crores is what? Nothing. ये तो करना ही. You can give that money and make people do it. It's not a big deal.
I think it is from my perspective that one subscription, one nation model is a kind of that in a way.
Yes.
Give money.
It is a first step. It is a small step, but a first step. Very good first step. That is definitely there. I think that there will be a deal. अबे देखो ये भी है. You can get some of your people as so. For example, I'll tell you, Turkey. Do you know that many academic journals are now headed by people from Turkey, Qatar, and all this, like mainstream old journals? Most of the editors of these journals that produce the knowledge, most of them are from Middle East and China. ये सब यूरोपियन जर्नल्स, इनके हेड्स अभी हो गए हैं टर्की, चाइना या ये सब जगह से. So this is obviously because these people are investing some money, right? तो और हमको वो सब करना पड़ेगा. मतलब these people, you can put your own people, but ये है who is your own people, that is the big problem. मतलब उसके लिए थोड़ा vetting process अच्छा होना पड़ेगा. मतलब that they need to contact actual academics. ये भी problem है कि when the ruling elite right now, they promote someone, sometimes these people are so horrible, they are dumb, that they can't actually stand up to the international standards. ये भी है. Anyway.
Yeah, so this is an interesting question from the HVDD, that we often blame elites and vocal Hindus, but why don't we hold the common masses of Hindus accountable, who even troll diplomatic statements?
I don't disagree with this, but एक बात यह है कि you need the masses. मतलब you can't मतलब masses का यह है कि वो mass है. That is their biggest power. They have the quantity. Even if they don't necessarily have the best qualities, they have the quantity. Now, whether we like it or not, in a democracy that matters. Okay. पहले ये सब सीन नहीं था. पहले you could have zamindari system and you can get away with it. And maybe that's why the pre-colonial, like the pre 1950s में the quality of discourse was much higher. Okay, so that is my view. मतलब I am not for British rule either. I am saying कि जो जब zamindars and all old rajas were there, the people they funded were of much higher quality. Okay, and ये caste पे भी नहीं होता था सर. All the time only Brahmins did not get funding. Lot of people from different castes, different creeds, sect, community got funding sometimes. But yes, because of colonialism and because of a lot of other factors, we kind of fell back. Yes.
Yeah, so you hit a very important point, correct? The
Hmm.
traditional Indian elites were actually
Hmm.
wiped out. We don't. They
Yes.
are wiped
Yes.
out. They were wiped out, or they were did not hold the elite position anymore. And that
Yes.
was
Yes.
actually
Systematically done.
systematically done by British, but still there were some
Hmm.
surviving elites still there. In
Hmm.
1947, they were actually killed off in a
Yes.
financial way,
Absolutely.
in a
Absolutely. Absolutely. A
systemic way.
Savarkar, you put Savarkar in jail. You put
Hmm.
Shama Prasad Mukherjee died in a few. मतलब वो तो हम लोग सबको मालूम है what happened. You have many sir. Sri Aurobindo was kind of sent into retirement. So many others were there who were actually nationalist. R.C. Majumdar, Jadunath Sarkar, many people. So these all people who were great, who were nationalist, who were pro-Hindu people, they were definitely systematically eradicated. So that was there. That is definitely a thing.
Yes. So my job and your job is to actually give a bit of an like helicopter view that what we see today and what caused it.
Mhm.
We might not know the exactly happened, but we
Absolutely.
can give you
Absolutely.
little bit more nuanced subjective. Okay, the situation is like
Yes.
this. It is because of these six things may have happened. We'll take our last question.
Yes. Yeah.
Is LPI actually going to make any dent? Cause no issue in them cutting votes. We are in a war situation with demographics and street battle. So
Yeah.
I don't think LPI
So
is going to have anything. Yeah, go ahead.
LPI is not going to dent anyone's votes. Okay. But I see LPI as a very important thing because they are an interest group. जैसे for example, Muslims may vote for TMC, but MIM is their interest group. Okay. Muslims can vote for Congress or TMC or RJD or whatever local party is there that is against BJP. This Muslims do, but their main allegiance is to MIM. So that's the whole point. Ki you need sometimes the thing is that the BJP, if it needs a course correction from Nehruvian socialism and all that, then the educated people of India who are right now the middle classes are the most, they are. So there are problems with middle class. I'm not saying middle classes are everyone's nice and all, but I'm going beyond that. That there are some reasons that we are somehow just limping towards $20 trillion economy. Whereas we have the human resource, we have the youngest population right now, but maybe 30 years later we won't have that. Okay, so we have to within the next 20-30 years we have to try to get there. Ki we have to be at least number 3 and in a proper way. Matlab, because Japan became poor, we became number 4. ऐसा नहीं चलेगा, right? So we need to have a better per capita GDP. We need to have a better lobbying power also. With that, with more money comes more lobbying power. With more money comes more, international power as well, soft power as well. So for that, you need to have more money, and for more money, you need more capitalism. Yeah, is the reality, and well, that is the thing. That is a reality that I guess LPI will be useful in helping us articulate. Obviously, nobody's gonna let's face one fact: nobody's gonna vote for LPI. Okay, but maybe except a few 4 or 5 people. But the thing is that I think LPI is still important because the questions they are raising are very important, and I think the temple of freedom thing, they are apart from BJP, they are the only party who are saying it now. LPI to power mein nahi aayega, so you won't know whether they'll do it or not. BJP ka kya problems hai, we don't know, but they are a pressure group, and if that means that
Exactly.
might get freed, if we can, educated people can put pressure on the government to say temple ko free karna padega, and that will help us in the long run. on our narrative and getting our Sanatan Dharma back to its former glory and all that. If that is our intention, then jisko bhi use karna hai karo. The path you get is more important. Okay,
Exactly.
and I think
That is the
that is very important. Yeah.
okay. So we are done. I think this was a good
Good night,
discussion.
and yeah, guys, look at the Shashi Tharoor books I recommended if you can find, and they're pretty good, basically. Anyway,
Jai Shri Ram,
good night.
Vande Mataram.
Jai Shri Ram, Vande Mataram.